dinner ready. Good evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host, and here we are to fight CPS and stop taking our children. I'm very fortunate to have two guests with me. I have Summer from Evanston, Illinois, and then Kelly.
Indiana.
I'm sorry, Evanston, Indiana, and then Kelly Stuckey. You're from where?
I'm from Vincent.
You're from where?
Vincent
Vincent.
Vincent is a city or is it a state? No, it's not a
is the
state.
city. The city.
Vincent, what city? What city? What state?
Indiana.
Indiana.
Indiana. Okay, so I got two from Indiana. I'm from California, and I'm going to talk about how to interact with this podcast. Then I'll come back to you. It's about 5 minutes, so I'll be right there. Okay, you guys don't have to go anywhere. You're doing fine. All right. I give a really warm welcome to all you parents out there that are fighting with a rogue agency, an agency that's turned bad. I've not heard anything good about CPS, the Child Protection System. Every state is different. Every state is different. California is called the Child Protection Service. In Arizona, it's called the Department of Children's Services. In Kentucky, it's called the what's it called? The Bureau. I think it's called. Anyway, every state has their own, but when I say CPS, I mean all the states and everything on there. Now, just by being in the room is one way you can interact with this podcast, just by being in this room. You can take notes. You can use emojis. They're nice. And, thumbs up, thumbs down, happy face, sad face, love, tears, whatever. Use your emojis. And right now we have about 5 people in the room, which is a good start. Now, let's say you want to do more than just observe us. Let's say you want to do more than just observe us. Okay. You can write comments and text them into me. All I ask you is to put your name, city, state, and country. I have about 13 countries from Bangladesh to Australia across the world that have come in to us. I've talked to all the 50 states and so forth. So make sure you're complete with your case. A third way is to be a guest, like I have the 2 guests tonight. Right now, to be a guest, all you do is contact my show producer, Grace, and she will put you on the show. You have to email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. You pick one of my 14 shows, morning or evening, Monday through Sunday, and she'll do the rest. She'll tell you that you can't smoke or eat on the show, even chew nuts or something like that, and you don't use first names of children or judges or social workers there. And so, with that being said, that's how you do the email. It's grace at vincentwdavis.com. Now, we have a person who's joined the room, Margaret King, and she's from Merced, California. Welcome, Margaret. And you can type in your comments. I'm going to put up my phone because I can take phone calls. It's 626-698-0990. And our people can answer the phone calls there. I'm missing somebody here. I see Summer, but where's Kelly? Let me see here. No,
Right here.
she's there.
She's on the top now.
Maybe my phone number is blocking it. No? Oh, there she is. She's on the left side.
Hi.
Yeah, I see you. I see you, Kelly. I thought maybe I lost
Okay.
you. I thought maybe I lost you.
Not so
Anyway, this is a room to discuss issues with the Child Protection Agency. They're very corrupt. They're not transparent. I've had 3 social workers on here. I've had one as a foster care, one as a third-party social worker. The other one was had a degree in mental health, behavioral health, and she had 6 months of training in Maryland. So I've talked the whole gamut. I haven't talked to any police yet, but the police are just as bad as the social workers. It's sad because they come out to investigate and immediately think your child's in imminent danger and steal your child. And I have 5 rules, and if time permits, I can talk about them. But it's very important to hear from Summer and Kelly, who probably for some time wanted to sit here and talk about their case. So I'm going to turn it over. I'd like Summer and Kelly, each of you one at a time, sort of tell me what your case is about and how I can help you.
Well, right now my kids are in foster care, and me and my baby daddy have been fighting tooth and nail to try to get them back. They're being abused in foster care. They've gotten bit by dogs. They've gotten pushed around by the foster parents. They've gotten bit by the other foster kids. They've come back to visits covered in bruises, saying that it was my kids' fault why they were covered in bruises, that they were too aggressive or anything. But my kids aren't aggressive. Like, they were sweet, innocent little boys whenever they left here. They were always taken care of. I did everything for them. I have not once even hurt my kids or laid hands on my kids. But yet foster homes, they get to lay hands on your kids. They get to hold them down forcefully, hold them down when they're not wanting to be there at all. Even when they're screaming, "Let me go." And they're still being forced and held there for no reason.
Now, Summer, can you start off? You said that there is a father involved. How many kids were we talking about? 2 kids. And what are the ages?
3 and 1.
3 and 1. So we have a newborn and a 3-year-old. And what were the allegations?
It was some domestic battery, but it wasn't even like domestic at all. It wasn't even a domestic battery. It was just a fight between a mother and a father. Yeah, and it was over within 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's called domestic violence. Anytime you have an argument between 2 people, it's called domestic violence. Battery is assault. The battery is when you assaulted somebody, but domestic violence could be exchange of harsh words, and in front of the children, that's a no-no. And I guess, who called in on that? Who called?
My neighbor.
Your neighbors.
Well, the cops. The neighbors called the cops, and the cops called DCS.
Yeah. Now, in your state of Indiana, it's called the Department of Children's Services, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the DCS were alerted, which is typical. The police are professionals. They have to call in anytime there's a domestic violence. In fact, there's 3 ways that they can enter your home. 1, you can give them permission to enter your home, or 2, you have domestic violence going on. Whether you are touching the child or not, if there's domestic violence, they can enter home. And then 3 is if there is a warrant that is signed by a judge that tells explicitly they can come there and supposedly take your children. Now, when the police showed up, what happened?
They let me go outside to calm down, and I did, and they even sat outside with me and just let everything de-escalate. And then whenever DCS got there, they said that I was suicidal, so I needed to go to the hospital, and I wasn't suicidal. So whenever the cops took me to the hospital, they ended up taking the kids too, because my baby daddy was going to take them somewhere unsafe, but he wasn't going to, hurt them, like he was taking them somewhere where DCS thought was unsafe for kids. And now we have our own house, everything.
Yeah. Now,
like, we've got new jobs, everything, like new house, new jobs. We relocated, got away from all the bad situations, And we've done everything DCS has told us, jumped through every single hoop, but still
Now,
will not
did they
release
take
our
the
kids back.
when the police came that night? Did they take the kids?
After they took me to the hospital, yeah.
And where did they place the kids with?
It was, they didn't even put them in a foster home first. They let them stay in their office for the night.
The police office? Wow.
No, the DCS office.
Oh, so the DCS was alerted that night.
Yeah. And they snatched them up.
Because of domestic violence, they had to take your child. Now, they should have said, is there a family member they could stay with? Did they ever offer you
They
that?
didn't even know.
Nope.
And you have no family members?
No, I don't.
Well, is the
I
father
was,
involved with this case, or is he out
yeah,
of the case? He is
he's
still
in the
involved.
case.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
we
he's
live together.
supportive. You guys are working together to get your children back, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, that is a good indication. So DCS had your children overnight, and the next day, you actually were arrested then.
no, I was put in a hospital.
Oh, because of the injuries?
No, because I was suicidal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Now, who
because
told you to
I
go to the
can't live
hospital?
without my kids.
Yeah,
Like,
who
they're
told
the
you-
reason I breathe.
Right. Now, who told you to go to the hospital?
DCS forced me. They forced me to go to the hospital in handcuffs and everything.
In handcuffs. Well, that's interesting. I guess you didn't know the laws then, but
Yeah.
unless you're arrested, you can't be put in handcuffs.
Yeah, well, they told me because since I was a flight risk, I had to be in handcuffs.
Who, the police did?
No, DCS.
That's
DCS wanted them
interesting
to.
because it looks almost, here's how it's supposed to work, and it could be vary from state to state. Anytime the police come out, they have to make a decision whether to arrest you and take you in. Anytime they put it with handcuffs, you're under arrest. And
They didn't want to. They, like, even the cop was telling her, no, she doesn't need to be put in handcuffs. We're just going to the hospital.
Well,
But then she's like,
DCS does
she's a
not
flight
have
risk.
authority. They don't have the authority. Who put the cuffs on you?
DCS did.
DCS doesn't have cuffs unless that's a
They did.
CPS, because they're not supposed to do that kind of work. That is left
No.
up to the police.
Exactly.
So the
Yep.
DCF workers, the social workers, put handcuffs on you.
Told them I was a flight risk.
Wow. That is really
Yep.
something. I want to introduce one of my longtime comes to my show every night, every day. Her name is Faye Manley. She's from Richmond, Kentucky, and she helps me. Today, she had another tragedy. Kentucky is the most corrupt state so far of all the 50 states I've talked to. Now, maybe Indiana is not far behind them, but
No.
she has two children, and when her daughter was age 5, CPS got a hold of her. They call it the Bureau in Kentucky, or the cabinet. They call it the cabinet in Kentucky. And they made the ultimate decision. Either you take care of your son who's special needs, or you take care of your daughter. She was forced to give up her daughter. And so she lost her daughter at age 5. That was, I don't know how old her daughter is now, but that was several years ago. She has her son who's 23, and he's a special needs kid. So she's trying to get guardianship. But it's very tragic. She was in foster care as a small child 5 times. Her mother did drugs. Her mother didn't really be a good parent. She loved her mother, and her mother's passed away. But she did not, be a good parent. And the same thing goes for her. Anyway, she just had a really rough life. So she's here to help, and she's listening. Now we have Margaret, who joined us tonight for the first time, and she's from Reset, California. So I'm glad she's here. Hopefully she'll tell about her case. She says, in my case, they violated all 3. Now, what do you mean by violated all 3? Is that the 3 children, Margaret? Is that the 3 children? And furthermore, She said they kidnapped Merced County, was reported the worst in the radar for human trafficking. Well, that is really sad to hear about that, Margaret King. That's really sad. Wow. So anyway, I just was sharing her things. I'm going to try to keep the people as they comment with you guys. So going back to Summer here, who has a horrible case. I had never heard, and I've been doing this since October. I've never heard of DCS. I call it CPS. Ever having handcuffs or have the authority or the power to do that. That is always done by the police. And that is
She
a
didn't
no-no.
want me to run.
That is a no-no. You have constitutional rights, and that is wrong.
Yeah.
Now, let me switch over to Kelly, who's been waiting there. Kelly, we'll get back to you, Summer. What is your case all about?
I'm actually here for Summer because I know her story, and I actually met her in a way that's not traditional. But I was at the hospital where she was arrested. I didn't know her at the time.
Well, do you
She's
have any children
involved.
yourself? Do you have any children yourself, Kelly?
Yes, I have two.
And they're all fine. There's no problem with CPS.
Not anymore, no.
Not anymore. So you
No.
did have a CPS case.
Yeah, Summer
What
knows
was yours?
about it.
Can you relate to the listeners what your CPS case was about?
Yeah, I've told Summer. I was in a domestic violence situation, and he got the CPS called.
Can you talk closer to the microphone? I'm having a hard time hearing you.
I was in a domestic violence situation.
She was in a violent situation.
Oh, okay. Understood.
Yeah, and he got the CPS called like 3 times.
So what was the accusations they took your children away?
Well, they didn't take him. They were going to take him. It was domestic violence and sexual abuse by my then partner.
Now, is the husband involved with your children?
Although I don't have a husband.
Okay. How about your lover or your boyfriend?
No.
So you're a single mom raising one child, or how many?
I have two, but my oldest is with his dad because of the domestic violence situation.
So is there two different fathers?
Yes. My
Okay.
youngest is special needs,
Yeah.
and he is
Because
by
of them.
he's by my abuser, and my abuser, he can't have anything to do with him according to DCS.
So he's no longer involved in the picture.
Right.
Good for you.
For good reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like that. It sounds like that. Well, Kelly and Summer, Kelly's case, the kids are returned to her. Kelly is a friend of Summer supporting here. So Summer, what are some more questions you have for me?
What should I do if I have video proof of the foster parent being like horribly towards my oldest son, and he's the 3-year-old. Should I or should I not, take her to court for that? Because in the video, you can even hear my oldest son screaming, "Hey, let me go. Let go and let me go." And she still just holds him and just will not let him go until he finally bites her.
She has him by the crotch, is what it is.
Yeah, she has her hand in the middle of his crotch and one arm wrapped around him.
And how old is that child?
3.
Well, that's inappropriate behavior, but anyway.
Yeah, and then also has a video of him inside of a pack and play, and she just kicks it across the floor.
Okay. Well, we have a new person in the room called Mikey Walker.
Yeah, that's my baby daddy or my husband.
Okay. Hi, Mikey. And I guess you're from Evanston, Indiana.
Evansville, but yeah. He's
Evansville.
at work right now. He wished he could join, but he's working.
Welcome, Mikey Walker. You're in the room here with Summer and Kelly and myself. We also have Faye, and we also have Margaret King from Merced, California, and Faye from Richmond, Kentucky. And we're hearing the story of Summer Primary. Kelly did have a CPS case, but she got her children returned, which is good to hear. And she had two fathers of her two different children. And I guess neither one of them are involved. You're raising children all by yourself. And I admire you.
My oldest son's dad is involved. He's a really
Oh,
good
your
dad.
oldest son, the father's involved. He still supports you?
Yep.
Good. Good. There's a lot of deadbeat dads out there. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Now, Margaret says you need a lawyer. Now, I think she was referring to Summer. Do you have a lawyer right now?
Well, we got one through the courts. Like, me and my baby daddy have two separate lawyers. I have one and he has one. But they're through, like, they're literally just through the courts. Like, I don't know if they're like the right type of lawyer, if you know what I mean.
No,
or if they'll
you're
work.
getting buffaloed right now because typically CPS wants you to have what's called court-appointed attorneys.
Yeah.
They don't tell you you can go out and hire an attorney or get an attorney. They want you to have a court-appointed attorney. You know why? It's
Because
because
they're on their
the
side.
children are each going to have an attorney, a court-appointed attorney, and your baby daddy is. That's 4 court-appointed attorneys. Guess what? They all hold hands. They all work together. They will not defend your case, and they have a caseload of 30 or more clients, and they don't have time to talk to you out of court. Your first time,
No, mine hasn't even reached out to me.
no, first time you see them is when you show up in court, and they're going to do the easiest way out. They're not going to fight for your case. They're not.
Yeah.
Going to. So I'm telling you, that's one of my first rules. You need to get an attorney, and I have an attorney that you can talk to. He has a consultation for 30 minutes. I made arrangements with him, but his name is Vincent W. Davis. It's the law firm that puts on this podcast. He's the best attorney in the country. He is a dependency family juvenile attorney. He has over 35 years of fighting CPS. And right now, I made a special deal with him to have a consultation with him of 30 minutes for $60. 30 minutes for $60. And his number right now to reach him is 888-888-6582. I want to thank him for this podcast. But just the other night, I was a guest on his podcast. He wanted me to tell me what I'm experiencing with my podcast. So he's a fighter. He has fought CPS, both civil and federal and state court. He's won millions of dollars. Now he's in Arcadia, California, but he does go out of state. He was in Oklahoma not too long ago, but he does go over there. You need to talk to him, but at least talk to him. And it's 30 minutes, and it's at 888-888-6582. Also, if you notice on the bottom of my screen, there's a ticket running, and that ticket is the website. And you can go there to https://kennedy.com/apps/apps/BWD/Bob Bates. And that can check his calendar, but you have nothing to lose. You're not going to get your child back. You could try pro se and fire your court-appointed attorney, but, by the way, that's what you can be in court. Are you allowed to go in the courtroom if they're talking about your case?
I don't know.
Well,
I mean, the case is still going on.
Had you had your first hearing?
Yeah, they set our first hearing back in like 2 months ago, and then they
allowed to sit in the court.
Yeah. I mean, the kids weren't allowed in the court. They weren't even there. But we had to go.
Yeah.
And then, like, they set our second court date for 6 months out.
Okay, but were you in the court room?
Yeah.
Okay, in
The
California, you're
first
not
one,
allowed to
yeah.
be in the courtroom. You have to sit in the hallway.
Damn.
That is
I would
terrible.
hate to be in there.
I was terrified when my case came up. I too was involved, but it happened to me later in life. I have 6 children. I've been married for 31 years, but unfortunately, I had my in-laws that made false complaints, allegations for 5 years. And after the
Yeah.
5th year went by, they tricked the police to have me come and go to my home. And they want me, and I did not know about the laws about not being in your home. Like, I don't know if you know this, but you don't have to open your home to anybody.
Yeah.
You can be quiet because too many people lately have been killed. That guy Roger, the black Air Force airman in Gainesville, Florida, was shot point blank in the chest 5 times by Gainesville. It took him a week before they finally charged that sheriff. Then there was another sheriff that killed a black lady, shot 5 times in the face. He was arrested that night and charged with first-degree murder. And then the cop that was with him is being charged too because he did nothing to stop it. So I'm trying to tell you, all of my listeners out there, don't open your door. And you can have special knocks or bell rings if somebody you know is coming by.
Yeah.
Furthermore, you're not allowed to give up your children unless there's a court warrant that explicitly says so. Like those social workers, I mean, you had domestic violence going on, so they had to come in there. But I cannot believe that they're able to put handcuffs on you. That's against the law.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because that's something you could really go after them because that's wrong for them to do that.
And then they're like torturing our kids by only giving us 2 hours in
I
1
know
week.
the visitation is
it's
terrible. Are they with the foster care people now?
They're in 2 separate foster homes.
They're supposed to keep them together.
Yeah, I know.
Now,
But they've been in 2 separate foster homes for like 3 weeks now.
okay. Now, Faye is asking a question. I put it up on the screen. Why did they set your court date 6 months out?
We don't even know. We asked for it to be closer. They said, no, we can't do that right now. And
This is the case to determine whether you're guilty or not?
no, this is just for the getting the kids back.
Have you had the case where they say they have a parenting plan? Have you had the court hearing on that? Okay. Now she says, how long has your case been going on? Faye is asking.
Since March of this year.
Okay. So it's been going on since March. And you only have 12 to 15 months to get your kids out of the system before and she calls Department of Children and Families, uses the time kids have been in your care to do what's called TPR. You know what TPR is?
No.
Termination of your parental rights. They want to get you so they can take away your parental rights. Your education.
Yeah, I'm not going to let that happen.
Oh, I know that. I know that. We're going to help you doing that. And so, Faye has that information. She'll respond. Margaret says, "Oh my God, she is this from Merced, California." And then she said, "Well, the newborn is in a consolidated for adoption. So I guess she's talking about her newborn is set for adoption. And I don't know how long her case has been going on. And then we have a new person here, Kendall K. Who is Kendall K? She says, "Hi, hun. I don't know a Kendall K. I don't know if Faye knows her or Margaret knows her or Mickey knows her or Summer knows it or Kelly knows it. But we have somebody named Kendall K. Says, hi, hun. I don't know where she's from." And of course, Margaret brings up a good point. No bonding is allowed. That's wrong. You need to bond with your children. they're going
Yeah.
to end up bonding with the foster care, and that's going to be bad news.
Yep.
Especially when my youngest is probably already calling the foster mom.
Yep.
Yeah, that is the hard thing. That is the hard thing I hear all the time.
Yeah. Like, I literally can't breathe without my kids. Like, I was a stay-at-home mom with them 24/7, and then just all of a sudden have them for just taken and being refused even considering sending them back home after everything that we've done.
Yeah. Now I have Rachel Schuler, who just joined us, and she says they push the boundaries so far out so the parents have less time to show the love they have been working on their services. For instance,
Yeah.
if they require you parenting classes or a domestic violence program or an anger management program or a drug program, an alcohol program, they have all these parenting classes and programs. And by pushing them out, it gets harder and harder to get your kids back. Now,
Yeah.
Rachel, I have no idea where you're from. Tell me where you're from. Also, Kendall, I'd like to know where you're from. Faye says, oh no. And then Margaret says, hello. Well, hello again, Margaret. Exactly, Margaret. And she's from Merced, California. And Faye says, exactly. So they both agree with that. And then Margaret says, consolidate. And then Rachel says, I grew up in custody and have dealt with them for every 8 of my kids since I was in care. So Rachel is like Faye. Faye been in and out of foster care 5 times. Rachel says she's grew up in foster care and now she must have a problem with her kids. Let me tell you all something here. CPS will remember if you're ever in foster care because they'll come after your kids. They will have that in the system. So as soon as you grow up and have kids yourself, they're going to try to take your kids. Now everybody's asking why they're taking the kids. Well, it's $1 trillion business, not billion, not million, $1 trillion that they make off children. They make an average of $60,000 per child per month.
Yeah.
You have 100 families, and you have 3 children each family. That's $6 million in 1 month. And right now, 400,000 children are being investigated, and about 90% of them are in foster care. It's sad, 500,000 people.
Wow. Jesus.
Yep, 20,000 for a newborn. You're right. 20,000 for a newborn, Margaret.
Wow.
You're right. You're right. Then Kendall says, I still don't know where. Okay, we have someone from a country, I think. He's from Marcola. You got to be a little more clear, Kendall. I don't know that particular country. Is that Morocco? We have people from other countries. So I'm trying to. We had a boy from Assam, India, which is northeast India. He was a 18-year-old boy looking for help. And Margaret King says, I don't know her. Who do you not know? Margaret King says, I do not know her. And then Margaret King says, report it every time you suspect abuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, you need to report it. And I'm going to give you guys something really important there. Rachel, who I don't know where Rachel's from, the best advice I give you is to get a paid attorney, a court-appointed attorney with the state to take them. Don't tell them that because they will say you are codependent. And Rachel, I have no idea where you're from, but that is a good advice. I just talked about getting an attorney. Now we have Kendall K. I'm another mother who they stole my child. I did regain custody, but still a battle. I can imagine, Kendall, and what city and state are you in? And Margaret King said again from Merced, California, I want to help raise money for people who can't afford an attorney. That's all sweet. We need that help. Maybe they could do a GoFundMe for lawyers. It's and Rachel, she's from Texas. Yay! I know where Rachel is. Now she's from Texas. And okay, Margaret King says I need a protest here. What kind of a protest are you talking about, Margaret King? And I think Margaret King is from Merced, California. Trying to keep care of everybody here, but it's really, really, really hard. Now, my question is is there any way you can get a attorney?
Not at this moment with the lack of money.
I had to sell my house to get an attorney. I sold my home, and I had to sell it completely. I worked 40 years for my home, and I had to sell my home at age 65. It was really tough because it's harder to be a dinosaur and work. I don't look like a dinosaur. I don't feel like a dinosaur. And I certainly will still work hard. But most people think because your age, you're too old. Too old. But I'm not. I'm very young at heart. And I love people. I love families. I love helping everybody.
Definitely can put a smile on people's faces.
Yeah, well, that's what I try to do. I try to bring humor. I try to bring humor into it. So it's hard because this is a serious matter. I know what you're going through. In my case, for 5 years, they were constantly accusing me like not feeding the children, no electricity, no gas. They weren't in school. They didn't wear clothes. Well, my in-laws were calling all these false complaints. It's my wife's mother, father, brother, and 2 sisters, or 3 sisters, who were doing all that. I did not know at the time. If I did, that would have stopped a long time ago. They were determined to steal our children. I had 6 children, 3 older and 3 younger. They stole my 3 young ones. They came to my home, and there was no imminent danger. In fact, my kids were in school. And you're telling me my kids, one was at a private high school, one of the best in the nation, and my daughter was in the middle school, and my young son was in elementary school. And they all were pursuing what's called STEM education, where they take a science class, a technology class, an engineering class, and a math class. They were trying to be, they were good students, but they were saying, oh, but not. And I brought them to my home, by the way. In the beginning, my home was fine. How they got me was because my mom and dad died. I took all their belongings. I was sorting through them. And of course, they had 55 years of belongings. And their house was huge. It was the same size as my house. And I had them all down in the living room, the boxes and the furniture. And I was sorting through them and shipping them off. And I had to go to a Spartan lifestyle because my mortgage payments, I could barely pay them. All my savings were being dried up. I had put money away for saving my life sometime, but I lost it all. I lost over $1 million fighting CPS. And it is a terrible, terrible effect. I did hire Mr. Davis, but I waited late and didn't get my daughter back. You know what the social workers did? They were, the social worker, she was young, about 22, 23, no college education, no license, no experience, hadn't met her anybody. Here she was hearing my case. Well, my wife's sister and husband were trying to adopt our daughter. And so the social worker was on the stand in trial. And my attorney was talking to her about various things. And then he pulls out a folder out of his briefcase, an inch thick. And he asked the social worker, what kind of parents are they? He said, oh, they're good parents. They're good. Has there been a domestic violence between them? She lied. She perjured herself on the stand. She felt so embarrassed that she had to leave the court. You know what they did? She retaliated and told my daughter, and she told us, you're never going to see your daughter again. So she told our daughter, who was 12 at the time, you can emancipate from your parents. You're 12 years old, you can do that. She gave that the idea, which means divorce your mom and dad, divorce your grandparents, divorce your aunts, divorce your uncles, divorce your cousins, and divorce your brothers. So she did that. Then she told her to change her name, which she did. And then they said, seal your birth certificate and then be adopted in a foster care. So our daughter at the age of 12 was stolen from us. And it was sad. It was sad. Um, she did all those things, and I couldn't stop it because she was the age of 12 in California. You can emancipate from your parents real easy. It's too easy. I don't think a child should be able to do that to their 18 anyway. I mean, if we're supposed to take care of them to their 18, then they're stuck with us, the parent, to their 18. And so anyway, my case got worse and worse and worse. But when I got Vincent Davis, he got my boys back, and he was able to close the case. But I went through a very unpleasant experience.
I just need them back. Like I mean, it's too quiet. It's not home.
You see, you have to understand what a social worker is. There are these 6 or 8 ladies in Prescott, Arizona, and they decided to, and they were Department of Children Services, DCS, and in Arizona, Prescott, the year 2022. You know what they did? They bought each of themselves a pink T-shirt. Well, that part is not a problem with me, but what they put on the T-shirt on the front back was horrible. They put their professional child kidnappers. On the back, they put, where your children are. Then they went over Walmart, Costco, Target, Best Buy, all the big stores and prayed around. They were caught. They were fired, as well as the director, left with one person to handle the DCS there. And but that is what they are. You're like Alice in Wonderland when you look at social workers. They're not transparent. They lie. They do revenge, and they hate parents. They hate seniors. They hate elderly people, and then they will not give you a fair shot. They're going to make stories and promise you things and break the promises. There's a girl from New York, K.K. Richardson, who went back to school to get a law degree and trying to fight for her kids. They made a promise that she would sign the plan. See, that's another thing. You really shouldn't sign that plan. They're going to try to retaliate with you, but that plan, you're going to give your rights over to the kids, over to the social workers.
Yeah, I'm not giving them my rights. I can't.
No, you don't want to sign anything too. Just don't give up. This is what Rachel says. She says, don't give up. Share your story. Find others who are going through the same thing. And fight it.
Yeah.
You have to fight. The more people stand up to them, money or not, the more they'll have to listen. Now, Rachel, I'm still not sure where you're from yet. I know that Margaret King is from Texas. I think she is from Texas. I get confused sometimes. No, Rachel's from Texas. Margaret King, I don't know where she's from. Margaret King, I think, is from Merced, California. Rachel is from Texas. Now, Rachel is sharing something else with you girls. Rachel says they don't get foster care placement, hardly at all. That is correct. And I've been trying to get someone to work with me to bust the placements. I was abused and no one intervened. I guess she was in foster care herself. And that is so sad. The damage that people have done. Were you there? Oh, you didn't tell me that.
I was in foster care too.
How did it start with you in foster care, Summer?
My mom and dad gave us up gave me and my twin brother up when we were 5 years old. Um, I went through 30 different foster homes and gotten beat, abused sexually, mentally, physically. I've been extremely hurt from foster care or foster homes. My twin brother ended up getting adopted from one of the foster homes. They didn't want me, they wanted him.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how long does this go on for you, Summer? How long does this go on?
Until I was 18. Until I aged out of DCS's care.
To your 18. So you had 18. That is terrible.
Yeah.
That is terrible.
I went through 20 different foster homes, about 10 different psych places, 10 different DCS workers.
So that's
About
why they
4
got
different CASA workers. Yep. And then my baby daddy, he was in foster care until he was 18 because his parents tried to kill him when he was a baby.
Oh, that's sad.
So we were both in foster care. Yeah.
Wow.
It was bad.
Well, that's why they had a record on you. That's the
One of the
easy
foster
thing
homes
to take
he
your
was
kids.
Yep. One of the foster homes he was in, if he got like a C or a B on his report card, they would dump boiling hot water onto his genitals.
Oh, that's terrible.
Like boiling hot water as a kid. Like, it was bad. Oh, yeah. But
well,
DCS
Rachel says, don't sign the safety plan or the services. I agree, Rachel. I agree. I know Faye will. Faye says, well, they can take your rights involuntary by terminating your parental rights. They can do that. That's something you don't want to have happen. And if they do that, you can do an appeal. You can appeal anything they do wrong. And you also can file at the federal level a complaint against them for being so bad. Faye also says that's what you have to do to keep them from doing it. You have to appeal and fight. Yes, Faye said they made her choose the 2 kids. That's how awful the workers were. That's how awful they were.
I wouldn't be able to.
No, that's what they made to choose between one or the other. Rachel says they tortured, they alienated, broke down until you're nothing to experiment on, and then dumped when you won't conform to what they want you to do. That's so true, Rachel. And Rachel's from Texas. She's born in Tennessee. And they confirmed her when she was 18. So she was in foster care. We've had a lot of mothers tonight. There's 3 of you I know that were in foster care. Mark King is really surprised what's going on. And Faye has the same exact story.
It happens more frequently than anything. Foster parents are more likely to beat and sexually molest or rape their foster kids more than anybody else.
Oh, yeah, and they also look down on their foster kids. They may have own kids themselves, and they let their kids bully the foster kids.
Yep. My 3-year-old got abused by their oldest.
Yeah. Faye says exact same story to her. And then Rachel is saying, Rachel Snyder, who's from Texas, I don't remember how many cases workers. It's oppression of poverty and sickening humans. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. And poor Margaret, she is so surprised about all these awful things happening. And Faith shares, I was waterboarded and given scalding water baths and gravel rock punishment. Gravel rock punishment. She was supposed to walk her feet on gravel rock, and she was given waterboarding. I don't know if you know what waterboarding is. It's where they submerge you underwater till you almost pass out. It's a torture that is uncalled for. It's uncalled for. It's something that bad people use. And so Scotty Walder Bath, that's terrible on a child. And that's the memories they get there. Whoops. Oh yeah, you're back here, Summer.
Yeah, my camera went out.
Oh, okay. I lost Kelly.
Yeah, phone froze for a second.
Sure.
No, I'm getting tired.
Faye, I meant to say Kentucky for you. I'm sorry. I know you're from Kentucky. I may have said you the wrong state. Kendall says, but I've not received residential custody yet. The grandmother has, and I've filed in a federal court. That's Kendall. And Rachel says, my brother was in Kentucky, and it was the Catholic school that did it to him. Oh, how horrible was that? And yes, I know I've lost one of my guests. Summer came back. We lost Kelly. I don't have Kelly's number, so I can't pull her back in. But these are really, you're educating a lot of people here, and I really appreciate you sharing this, Summer. And same thing with Kelly to be beside you. You have a nice friend there supporting you. That is really good. That's really, really good.
Yeah.
Because
she's even going to go to court with me.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, the whole concept is family first. You should, everybody, the best parents are the mother and father of children. No studies have shown any different. The best parents are mother and father. And I'm sad to say is you need an attorney. And that's all you can win. It's like a doctor doing open heart surgery. You as a layperson would not operate on your heart. You need to get a doctor. Same thing goes for yours. CPS is open heart surgery.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Faye, thank you. She was replaying to Rachel. It moves so fast with these comments. I couldn't hear this is killing me. I'm sorry, Margaret, but this is reality. And if you haven't guessed it, you're in for a terrible time.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. Peer support. She's talking about your friend Kelly with you going there. It's so important to have support. It really is.
Oh,
Stick together, Rachel says. I agree.
she's my best friend.
Margaret says, yes, she agrees. Everybody in this room is agreeing. But how long?
And I have like 3 other people going to court with me because I've sent them the video of what the foster parent did to my oldest. And
Okay.
they're like, yeah, we're going to court for you. The day of your court, let us know. We'll be right there. I said, best believe I will.
Well, Margaret, if you're talking about Summer, she's been working on this case since March of this year.
Yeah.
Margaret, I know you want your babies back. Margaret, do you have an attorney? Are you using a court-appointed attorney? You got to get a real attorney. And all of you should call in the 888-6582 and ask to have a consultation with Mr. Davis. $60 is a lot of money. I know that. But your life will be so much better after talking to him. And maybe there's a way you can work with him and his retainer. All right? But it's worth the call in. And he's the best there. And yes, if you have video or documentation, Oh, good, Margaret. You've hired Vincent Davis. Yep, she's in Merced. And so she has hired Mr. Davis. Great job. I was wondering where he was going up to Northern California. Okay. The right attorney is so important. I agree. Vincent Davis was hired by Margaret King and from Merced, California. So I'm so glad. By the way, he has a podcast. He talks and tries to help other people. Now I have about 5 minutes left. What other questions do you have, Summer? What else things I could help you with?
Mm, I think you've helped me a lot, actually.
Oh, I know what I need to give you guys. I need to give you that very important address to make a complaint if they go bad. Oh, here comes Kelly. Welcome back, Kelly. Welcome back, Kelly. I got you in. Okay.
I have faith that I'm going to get a good lawyer or a good attorney. I'm going to get them back, no matter what.
Guys, everybody listen. This is really important. If you want to file a complaint with the federal government about child protection services or the CPS system, there are several ways you can do this. One, you can go to the website, U.S. Department of Health and Human Service, and print out a form and mail a completed complaint and consent form to the Centralized Case Management Operation, 200 Independence Avenue Southwest, room 509F, Triple H Building, Washington, D.C., 20201. And you can also email the completed form to the OCRC OMPLANT. That is the OCR complaint at HHS. That stands for Human and Health and Human Services.gov. So that's where you can mail your complaint and be as thorough as you can about that complaint. Also, if you want to contact the Children Bureau that your child's being abused, you can call them at 800-394-3366, or you can email them at info@childwelfare.gov, info@childwelfare.gov. So I just really think that this information is important for you to hear. Now you can replay my podcast because as soon as I'm done with my podcast, they'll be up for viewing later. So if you didn't get that thing, you listen to my podcast, okay? Now I have about a minute left, and I want to thank a lot of people. Don't let me leave yet, but I want to thank Margaret King, who has hired Vincent Davis to get her kids back. She's in Merced, California. I want to thank Kendall. I don't know where you're from, Kendall, but thank you for participating. I want to thank Faye, who's from Richmond, Kentucky. And she says, if you can afford an attorney, hire a private investigator, look up into the foster parents. That's another thing. You can check the background of the foster parents and find some mud on them.
Yeah.
And, investigator there. Who else is here that's been talking? Margaret, I want to thank you. Robert Schuler, Kendall K. Who else we've had here? Margaret King, Kendall K. Faye, of course. Kendall K. Faye. Oh, we have the baby daddy guy, Mickey. Mikey. I'm sorry, Mickey. Mikey. Hey, I got to laugh. I love laughs. Mikey. Yeah. I'm so glad you're involved in helping out Summer, Mikey. You're a good man. You're a good man. So I want to thank all of you for listening and participating. And you two ladies, Kelly and Summer,
Yes.
thank you. You're sweet people. You care about
Thank
families.
you.
That's why I know you're good people, because no one is going to come on a podcast and talk about their personal life if they didn't care. And I
I
want to
had
No.
to
thank
encourage
the
her
people in my
to do
room.
it. I had to
Yes, yes,
encourage her.
Kelly.
I had
And
to
I want
She
to
encourage her
had
to
to
do it.
encourage me because I was scared.
Yeah. I want to invite both of you. It's not afraid to be on my podcast. I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. I'm on, at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, and 7 o'clock at night. On Sunday, though, I take time off to go to church. So for 2 hours, I'm with my family before it. So I do my podcast at 8 o'clock. And then next Friday, I got a football outing with my young son. And I have a football game. It's a big, important game for them. And they're playing next Friday. So my podcast next Friday is at 3 o'clock. So with
Okay.
that saying right now, again, I want to thank you all for listening and participating. Keep fighting for your kids. Don't forget to call in and speak to Vincent Davis at 888-888-6582. And this is Bob Pace signing off. God bless you.